it just, for some reason, it keeps coming back even stronger. So it's a mystery why sometimes it works. I think it's the strength of the spirit itself.
Let's go to Jeff in Williston, North Dakota. Welcome to the show. Hey, Jeff, go ahead.
Thanks, George, for having me on. Thank you, Keith. I'd like to share a story with you, Keith. I shared it before with George, and then I have a question.
Sure.
George, you remember a while back I once told you I worked for Boeing Mountain about 11 years ago, and I saw a female demon one night because I had just shared my faith with a coworker, and he accepted the Lord. And so the minute that happened, the office where we were, the door slammed open, and it wasn't even 5 yards to walk down the hallway, and the door slammed open. And his eyes got really big, so right after that, I walked across to the main hotel, and my wife was at the front counter. And it was Christmas time. And so right before I got to the foyer, to go inside, it's not even 5 yards, this female demon had black eyes, and I knew right away, but I knew the Lord was protecting me in the spirit. So it says, I've seen you around here. And I come this time of year, every year, to get drunk and so on and so forth. And so I said, well, ma'am, if you need help, my wife was right there, we can help you. So it would not go into the building until I went in, and it followed me in. It's double doors, not even 5 yards to get to the front counter. And as soon as I got up to the counter, it was right behind me, almost next to me. I told my wife, this is not a person, it's a demon. And it smelled like old leaves. And as soon as I told my wife that, there's a fireplace out to the right and then elevators, and there's a pillar of stone right there in the corner of the front counter. As soon as I told my wife that, I walked past that pillar and it disappeared just like that.
Interesting. Now, how about a question?
Okay, and here's my question. Keith, do you believe, like some Christians do believe, that all aliens are demons?
That's a tough call, our aliens, demons. My personal experience is every time I've dealt with an alien situation, it turns out to have demonic overtones. That's my personal experience. I can't speak for everybody. I know a lot of people have many, many different experiences, and it's a vast, vast universe. But me personally, every time I've been called upon to talk with somebody, when it gets really in-depth, it does turn out to have demonic relations to it.
How do you know it was an alien or ET?
It could be both. I think it could be both. I think it could be an ET, but I think it could be demonic. I think they could be related. I think a lot of demons do pretend to be aliens. They do pretend to be ETs and convince people. Another thing that they do deceive people, and that's how they gain people's trust and how they get people corralled in and interested, and then they attack.
Well, when you go back to Genesis, Keith, and read the segments on fallen angels.
Oh, yeah.
Who's to say they weren't fallen ETs, right?
I think they could be one and the same because they are extraterrestrial. They are from the heavens. They are from the skies. And yeah, that is my personal. I'm a very strong believer in that, actually.
Let's go to Jessica in Seattle, Washington. Hi, Jess. Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much, George, for taking my call. And hello, Keith. I also thank you for giving me the time. So I'll try to keep it short here. Almost 2 years ago, my best friend committed suicide, and it was without warning. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but shortly after he took his life, I vividly was having full conversations with him in my dreams, like where my husband and our roommate at the time, we were watching a movie, I fell asleep, and I saw my best friend in my dream, and we had these conversations almost on a daily basis, but they were just normal conversations, as if he was still alive, and I don't know if maybe it's because I'm still in like a mourning process, but what really struck a chord with me is what you had mentioned, Keith, earlier, about how sometimes spirits they'll pose as people that are your loved ones or people you care of. So I don't know if it was something that wasn't my best friend. It's somebody else's spirit.
Is it still happening, Jessica?
I'm sorry?
Is it still happening?
It's become less and less, and it kind of makes me sad because I miss my best friend so incredibly bad. It's the last time it happened was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're really good conversations, but I'm wondering, is it real or is it?
Well, how can you decide, Keith, if it's real or not? It's difficult for you to be able to say that, isn't it?
It is very difficult to differentiate if it could be psychological, because as you mentioned, it's in the morning process. You could be in the morning process and having recurring dreams, and that's psychologically sound. However, if it keeps persisting, I would simply pray. I would pray, if this is a lost or wandering spirit, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ that it is sent to its proper abode. That seems to work very well for me. That covers all the bases. If it's an inhuman spirit, then it's going to be sent to its proper abode, which is away from wherever it is. But, if it is some kind of lost spirit, I would pray that it go to Jesus and be dealt with as Jesus commands. I think that's always the best way. It is for me, for certain.
Have you ever been hurt, Keith, in a investigation?
Thank God I have not. Thank God I've not been seriously hurt. I've become nauseated, but I've not been seriously hurt. I know a lot of people who have become very seriously hurt, and it can be very, very dangerous. I've had sometimes when I'm feeling depressed myself, I've had someone pray over me, but you have to be careful for that too, because sometimes it will deflect and it will get the person next to you. I've seen that happen. I was at a place where I was employed once, and I was feeling oppressed. A woman prayed over me. Suddenly, a woman who was several feet away from me got scratched on her wrist. She got 3 scratches, trademark 3 scratches. I interviewed her. It turned out she had never been baptized, so she didn't have that kind of aura, that kind of protection. So I think it deflected and went to the weakest link.
That could be. Keith has a book series we'll talk about when we come back and take final calls. Paranormal Realities, his website, nearparanormal.com, linked up at coasttocoastam.com as well. And when we come back, we'll take the rest of your phone calls, jump on board as we talk about the paranormal world right here on Coast to Coast AM. Keith Johnson, our special guest, and you're up next with us with calls on Coast to Coast AM.
Find out more about tonight's guest. Log on to coasttocoastam.com.
What are you doing on television?
Or the radio, for that matter.
Or the radio, for that matter.
Gary and Jen, weekdays at 10 a.m. on KFI.
The Pod Meets World podcast takes you back in time to 1993 for the ultimate Boy Meets World rewatch. Join original cast members Danielle Fishel, Will Friedle, and Ryder Strong as they relive every episode, sharing memories, behind-the-scenes info, and more.
None of us have seen an episode since it aired back in the 90s, so we'll be witnessing our middle part haircuts, hooded t-shirts, and teenage overacting for basically the first time right along with you.
Listen to Pod Meets World on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm an American today because of my paternal grandfather. Hello, I'm John Okoyan, founder of Rooter Hero Plumbing and Air. My grandfather escaped the tyranny in Armenia, moved to California, and sent for us. This great country took us in and gave us sanctuary. I'm grateful every day for the brave men who carved out our Constitution. Things are tough right now, and we're being tested. Despite all this, there's no place I'd rather be. This month, let's show Lady Liberty, even though she's under duress, and stand beside her. I want to take a moment to thank you for trusting Rooter Hero Plumbing and Air with your most valuable asset, your home. Call us at 866-DRAIN-77 and we'll cable your drain or give you an AC unit safety check for only $77. That's 866-DRAIN-77. Thank you. CL 102-8886/996688.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. I am so proud of my solar company, Sunlux. Not because they're a sponsor, but because I happen to think they're the best solar in town, and I'm not alone in that thought. When Tesla went looking for a company it could trust with its new solar ecosystem, Tesla chose Sunlux too. Now Sunlux has their panels, the patented mounting system, and yes, the Powerwall battery. It's the most advanced solar in the industry, and it's all waiting for you at sunlux.com. That's sunlux.com. CSLB 1008374.
Let's spend this 4th of July eating food that would terrify our forefathers.
A tube of meat.
Heretic! KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County.
Happy Friday. You made it through the week. It's time for your morning wake-up call. Here's Jennifer Jones-Lee.
It's gonna be a good Friday, people. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Like I'm gonna let this one go, Tyler. Tyler says to me, "Do you coordinate?" I said, "What? Did you coordinate your shirt with this song?" And I looked down and I thought, I don't have a Guns N' Roses shirt. I'm wearing my AC/DC shirt this morning. Hey Tyler, who does Welcome to the Jungle? Oh, he won't even answer.
It's obviously Guns N' Roses, Jim. Duh. Everybody knows.
You just meant, did I wear a rock and roll shirt?
Yeah,
because,
like,
like people who played on the Sunset Strip.
Yeah, that.
Right.
That's obviously what I meant.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Oh, Friday is gonna be fun. This is your wake-up call. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee. So here's the deal. Gas prices are going up 3 cents today, right? We've got a gas tax. But Governor Newsom has signed a nearly $308 billion budget that includes $9.5 billion in refunds for taxpayers to ease the high gas prices. Can we just not have the tax go into effect? Okay, anyway, that's what's happening. Those are the facts. The increased minimum wage in LA has gone into effect, and NBA player Brittany Griner has arrived at a court in Russia for the start of her trial on drug charges. Then we're going to have some fun coming up at 5:05. It's ABC's Jason Nathanson. So much fun stuff to talk about this weekend. We've got Minions, The Rise of Gru. We'll talk about how Only Murders in the Building is back for season 2. Stranger Things is back for the second half of season 2. And then there's Chris Pratt. He's a Navy SEAL, and he's in a show called The Terminal List. All that straight ahead. But I want to get right into these stories because we have so much happening. Governor Newsom has signed a nearly $308 billion budget. It includes $9.5 billion in refunds, as I told you, for taxpayers to ease high gas prices. The refunds range from $200 for individuals to as much as $1,050 for couples with children. California's annual gas tax has gone up 3 cents. We pay more than anyone else in the country for gas from the Duff aisle. A gallon of regular averages between $6 and $7 a gallon. Drivers say the bump in the price of gas makes a bad situation worse.
I'll be staying in town for 4th of July. Not driving anywhere.
Voters in California approved the annual gas tax increase in 2017. Republicans pushed to have it frozen, but Democrats refused. And by the way, the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California today is actually 2 cents lower than it was yesterday. So it's coming in at $6.27. California has a new law designed to cut down on single-use plastics and packaging. It calls for a 25% reduction in single-use plastics by 2032. By January 2028, at least 30% of the plastic items sold, distributed, or imported in California must be recyclable. That percentage goes up to 65 by 2032. The increased minimum wage in LA has gone into effect. It was raised to $16.04. All employees working an hourly job will benefit from the increase in pay. The last time LA increased its minimum wage was in 2015. Remember those houses that were damaged by an accidental LAPD bomb squad explosion over a year ago in South LA? 17 of those homes have been repaired.
But some of the residents don't want to go back because of pending litigation or the trauma of the explosion. Chief Moore says the bomb squad will no longer detonate materials in a neighborhood.
Personnel that were directly involved in this explosion have been removed. Disciplinary action has been taken, and I am confident that these safeguards and these added steps will ensure that such an accident is never repeated.
The explosion injured 17 people, and those who haven't returned home have been living in hotels at the city's expense. Steve Gregory, Kfi News.
And WNBA player Brittany Griner arrived in court in Russia for the start of her trial on drug charges. ABC's Inez de la Cuchera says Griner was arrested at an airport in February while traveling to play for a Russian basketball team.
Russian officials claim she had been carrying hashish oil in her luggage. Griner's lawyer says she faces 5 to 10 years in a penal colony if convicted. The U.S. says Griner is being wrongfully detained.
Griner's trial is happening in a suburb of Moscow. No cameras will be allowed in the court. When we come back, we are talking Minions, Gru, Chris Pratt, murders in a building, and more. It just gets stranger and stranger with these things. Let's get a look at your drive. The KFI in the sky. Nick Pagliocchini, happy Friday.
And good morning. Taking a drive for folks as they're making their way through the Corona area. First thing this morning on the southbound side of the 15th. Right around Temesco Canyon, it's an ongoing fatality crash investigation. Looks like you are seeing a mess of the drive on the southbound side of the 15 this morning from Cahauto. As you make your way toward Temesco Canyon, happen to be heading through this area of town, have an update, something else slowing down your drive. Pound 250 and yourself on keyword is KFI traffic. Even before that, though, pretty heavy for you. Unusually slow going through Eastvale and Norco. Southbound side out of the 15 from 6 as you make your way toward the 91. As you make your way through Orange County, looking pretty decent to start things after the morning drive. A little bit of a rough go for you. Westbound 22 coming out of the Orange Crusher, the 557 and 22 split. Also seeing a possible problem for your drive. Eastbound 91 transition to 605 north. Looks like it was a small grass fire to the side of the roadway. Definitely an attention getter for you, and seeing delays 91 eastbound as you make your way toward the 605 from as far back as almost about Bellflower Boulevard. And checking out your drive as you're making your way through South LA into downtown. Northbound side of the 110 right around Adams, getting reports of a problem being cleared from lanes. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Pagliocchini.
5:06 on your wake-up call. ABC's Jason Nathanson, you are bringing us a ton of good stuff. Whether we want to go to the theaters this weekend or stay home, I mean, it's kind of a packed court when it comes to TV and movie watching.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, which is good for the July 4th weekend, because we all want to stay home, right? We don't want to go anywhere.
Well,
we don't want to fight the crowds and go to the beaches and
except me, who literally just checked into her flight during traffic because I realized, oh my God, I forgot to check in. I'm C7 on Southwest. Not bad.
Okay, good.
My flight leaves in 6 hours.
As long as you're not on Delta.
No, not on Delta. No, I know, it makes me nervous. Because our good friend, Laura Ingalls, is flying in from New York, coming here to California, and she just told me yesterday, I have a Delta flight. I'm like, oh, I was hoping I would see you. Oh.
Well, I had a Delta flight a week or so ago when things were still, there was a problem, and I had no issues, though I know somebody who was on Tarmac for like 7 hours. So.
Okay. All right, well, it sounds like COVID, you know, your husband can get it, but you don't kind of thing. So, I don't know, it'll be hit and miss. All right, so for the people who do want to just stay home, and maybe their big thing is going to be going to the movies, the Minions, the rise of Gru is coming out, and the signs for this are just so cute. I mean, I'm a big fan of those movies anyway.
Yeah, I am too. I didn't get a chance to see this one, but, you know, if you're a fan of the Minions and you're a fan of the Gru, and this is the second one in the Despicable Me kind of prequel series, then I think this is going to be something that you're going to go to watch. And, you know, if you're looking for a family movie for sure, the last one was Lightyear, which didn't do as well as people thought it would. That was the Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And I like that film. But this is going to be, you know, something I think that you're going to want to check out. You have, it's about a young Gru. He's, I think, 12 years old in the 70s. And he joins a group of supervillains because he wants, even from that early age, he wants to be a supervillain. He's always wanted to be a supervillain. He has the minions around him, and then it's kind of about his quest to become the supervillain. So you have Steve Carell, who still does the voice, even though it's a 12-year-old girl. And then you have Taraji P. Henson, and the voice cast is incredible. Taraji P. Henson, RZA, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Julie Andrews, Russell Brand, Danny Trejo. I mean, the list goes on there.
Julie Andrews?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Who's mom?
Oh my gosh. Okay, and Danny Trejo, and okay. Well, I would go just to see that, but I'm a huge fan of the whole trilogy. Now, what do you call it? Quad?
This is the second in the prequel.
In the mid. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's better than trying to figure out what quad is in that. Okay, and then for people who don't want to go to the movies, because I know so many people who say I'm still not comfortable sitting in a movie theater right now, so they could stay home and do Only Murders in the Building.
Sure. But if you're a fan of that, you might have already done that. That came out earlier this week, so there are 2 episodes right now, and there's going to be a new episode every week. That's on Hulu. But this was one of the best-rated shows of last year, and a huge surprise, I think, for a lot of people who weren't, you didn't know what to expect from this Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez trio, which seems a little weird on paper. But people absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed the series as well. And season 2 is back with a new murder for them to solve, which we saw at the very end of season 1. It picks up right where season 1 ended. So the 3 of them are being interrogated for this new murder, but then they have to figure out what's going on. You have some new guest stars, including Cara Delevingne in this one. You have Amy Schumer, she takes over, if you remember from last season, Sting was there, and he had to move out. She takes over Sting's apartment, and she plays herself.
Yeah.
Shirley MacLaine, who was absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot to like in the season.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, and what else is coming out?
Stranger Things, the last 2 episodes of the 4th season. So this 4th season, which just came out a couple of weeks ago, people binged it, they loved it, I thought it was great. I thought it really came together by the time they ended it. I didn't know exactly where they were going, but they really brought it all together. And then, so now you have 2 final episodes of this season 4. And if you're looking for something to binge, these are long. The first one, I believe, is 85 minutes.
Oh.
And the finale is almost 2.5 hours.
Oh my God.
So you're basically getting 4 episodes here that they call 2 episodes, but each one is almost a movie.
Okay, but that sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to spend your 4th of July is, watching kids run around solving this crazy Vecna thing that's going on this season.
But you know what? Why not? What else are you doing this 4th of July? Maybe going to see Chris Pratt?
Sure, you could see Chris Pratt in The Terminal List, which is that's on Amazon Prime Video. This is a new series. It's based on a very popular book by Jack Carr Chris Pratt plays a Navy SEAL. He's in charge of a unit. Terrible things happen to the unit, and he comes back home, and then his family is being threatened as well, and he has to figure out what's going on. And it seems like he's in the middle of a huge conspiracy theory. Or is he? Or is his own mind playing tricks on him? That's what he has to try to figure out. What's real, what's an actual threat, and what's not real. I've seen some reviews for this which have been very unkind. I have not read them. I only see the headlines. I try not to read any other reviews before I give my review. The headlines from these reviews are absolutely terrible.
Ooh.
I would say that there are some plot points in this that are fantastically wild, and you're kind of like, really, that happened? And also, really, this character's reacting this way? But Chris Pratt is so likable.
Yeah.
And then you also have Taylor Kitsch. You have Jean Triplehorn is in this as well. Constance Wu. You have a really good cast.
Wow.
And they're enough to kind of make it likable, even though there's some really crazy stuff going on.
All right. Well, it sounds like fun anyway if people are maybe not looking to travel because of the gas prices, of course.
Sure.
Lots of fun stuff out there. Jason, thank you so much. Happy 4th of July.
You too, take care.
All right. See you later. Let's get back to some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Some crazy stuff happening in Orange County. A woman says she was sexually assaulted inside an elevator at a storage facility in Irvine. She says the man attacked her mid-afternoon Saturday, pulling down her sports bra and hitting her. She says she punched him in the face. The woman called police. They say they're working to find this guy. A man's been convicted of fatally shooting his wife in front of a hotel in Lake Forest. It happened in June 2020. The man told police he had money problems, needed eye surgery, and his wife took everything he owned. He also claimed his wife had given him herpes. A grand jury report says a supervisor in OC put a 4-month hiring freeze on the government watchdog agency that oversees the OC Sheriff's Department because of an unflattering report about the department's use of force policies. The report does not name the supervisor. The Sheriff's Department says it's committed to having a cooperative relationship with the independent review that's taking place. Well, a young man's been arrested for stabbing another young man in Thousand Oaks. The man who got stabbed was found early yesterday in a wash near the 101. The stabber faces a charge of attempted murder. Deliberations are set to start in the case of the man charged with murdering rapper Nipsey Hussle in South L.A. He was shot and killed outside his clothing store in March 2019. A congresswoman who represents many of the foothill areas of the San Gabriel Valley has been arrested in Washington, D.C., in a protest supporting the right to an abortion. Judy Chu, a Democrat, is the main sponsor of a bill that would establish a federal right to abortion care. Chu was one of several dozen people arrested yesterday. The protest was held in an intersection between the Senate building and the Supreme Court. And Pasadena is fireproofing for the 4th of July.
Crews have been working to cover many of the hillsides in flame retardant.
As we kick into the peak fire season in Southern California, we know that there's increased risk with the 4th of July and illegal fireworks.
Pasadena Fire Chief Chad Augustine says the retardant will help prevent fires for a long time.
It'll provide protection until it rains.
Augustine says the retardant is clear in color and safe for animals. Crews began covering the hillsides in it yesterday. In Pasadena, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Now can they just cover California in it? All right, when we come back, we are going to talk your pets for the 4th of July holiday, and I don't think we can do this enough because every time I hear one of these things and I think, okay, check, I've got that done, check, I do that every year, then there is some animal official who tells me something that I forgot or I don't have or anything like that. So we're going to talk to Gia DeBurnett. She's the president and CEO of the Pasadena Humane Society coming up. Not only is it keeping your, fur kids safe, I guess, on the 4th of July, actually keeping them indoors, making sure they're not freaked out by the fireworks, but what happens if, God forbid, your pet gets away? How do you find them? What do you do if your pet goes missing? That's coming up in just a second. Let's take a look at your ride. Nick Paliocchini, and we've got problems that just linger now on the 15 in Corona. Take it away, Nick. I'm trying to get your traffic for you, and bam, here it goes.
On the southbound side of the 15, got Caltrans crews wrapping up shop in the overnight and early morning hours. That's for starters for at Cajalco and also at Dos Lagos to Wyrick. And then further south on the 15 is an ongoing fatality crash investigation involving a tractor trailer, and everything appears to be off the right shoulder, but lanes are still taking away for that investigation. It looks like there may be a hard closure in effect. We'll try to get some an idea of what lanes those are specifically. But anyway, what you need to know, 15 southbound packed and tight right now from Cajalco as you make your way toward Temescal Canyon. So definitely give yourself some extra time getting out the door this morning. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Paliocchini.
Contractor license 1023790. When we hook up Digital Duncan, playtime is over. Digital Duncan doesn't guess. Digital Duncan knows what's wrong. When your AC breaks down, call Kelly. GOE-TTL.
We'll keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. Confused about recycling? Californians are recycling smarter together. Visit iRecycleSmart.com for tips to help keep your recycling out of the trash. That's iRecycleSmart.com. Do your part. Recycle smart. This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Blindstar.
On the first day of free agency, the Lakers landed several role players, including former Spurs guard Lonnie Walker IV. The Clippers re-signed Nick Batum and Amir Kofi. Both teams reportedly still have their sights on net guard Kyrie Irving. The Dodgers beat the Padres thanks to 2 Justin Turner home runs. And USC and UCLA blindsided the Pac-12 and announced they're bolting for the Big Ten in 2 years. I'm Misty Jordan.
Need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Right now, save 50% off any order during their July 4th sale. Blindster.com.
Bad news, water restrictions are here. Good news, Rough and Tough Turf is your answer. You're going to save money on water and gardening bills, and Rough and Tough guarantees it'll pay for itself within years. Call Rough and Tough Turf right now and ask about the KFI Spring Special. You're going to get free demo and $1,000 off. 818-403-3581. 818-403-3581. 818-403-3581 or the website, roughandtoughturf.com. That's RUFF, letter N, TUFF.com. CSLB 1030510.
Not every attorney has the tools, expertise, and stamina to turn over every stone, go that extra mile, and win, like their own personal life depends on it. I'm Susan Owen, managing partner at personal injury law firm Owen, Patterson & Owen. This is who I am and what we stand for. Recovering over $10 billion for accident victims. If you've been injured, there's one firm to call. That's OPO Law. 888-OPO-WINS, and we do. 888-OPO-WINS or OPOLaw.com.
Hi, this is Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. I've spent my career designing and building beautiful homes. I'm here on KFI to help you transform your house into a more beautiful home. And while we're at it, build yourself a more beautiful life.
Home with Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. Tomorrow morning at 6 on KFI.
More stimulating talk.
I just came into the party for the dogs. I'm not trying to make a friend of falling out.
Didn't we all come to the party for the dogs? KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome to your Friday party. We've got some new laws that go into effect today. Starting today, California is extending its micro-stamping requirements for handguns. That's the process of imprinting those tiny markings on cartridges that have been fired from the weapon, just so police can identify them easier. School start times. A new law takes effect that requires middle schools to start no earlier than 8 a.m. and high schools to start no earlier than 8:30. And as I mentioned before, starting today in the city of Los Angeles, minimum wage will go up from $15 an hour to $16.04. Coming up at 5:35, we'll talk with KFI's House Whisperer, Dean Sharp, all about how much space do I need for that thing. Now, it's no surprise that Handel wanted that Wayne was filling in for Handel, channeled Handel, when he wanted to talk about how much space do you need for the loo. We'll talk about other stuff, closets, whatever you can think of in your house that you think, this is too big in my house. Is it really, or is it that big for a reason? We'll talk with Dean about that in just a second. Dia DeVernit, who is president and CEO of the Pasadena Humane Society. Before we even start, let me wish you a happy 4th of July holiday weekend.
Same to you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Great to talk to you again. And I know that every year we try and put out the word about keeping our furry kiddos safe, but it's just hard because you've got people coming in and out of the house. If you've got a pool in the backyard, maybe you kind of leave the door open so the dogs are running back and forth and the cat's staying outside and getting spooked by little kids, maybe that she doesn't normally deal with. It's a time that stuff happens that you're not even thinking about.
It is, and the most important thing to remember, I think, at 4th of July is keep your pets indoors. Even if your pet doesn't seem to be bothered by fireworks, like my perfect little dog, she loves the fireworks, but still, I would never take her to a fireworks display because you just never know what might happen. So
exactly.
Keep an eye on your pets. Keep them indoors.
Now, I know that people come over on the 4th of July, and so a lot of times you're opening that front door far more than you normally would. And the minute somebody comes into your house, you're doing the hugging and you're grabbing whatever food they brought over. And sometimes a furry kiddo slips out the door. What are the things that you should make sure that they're wearing to get them back as soon as possible?
Right. Well, always make sure your pet is wearing a collar with an ID tag and license information. That's the easiest way for anyone who finds your pet to get it back home to you. Make sure your pet's microchipped and that you keep your contact information up to date with the microchip company. So often we have microchip pets coming into the shelter. We try to call the owner listed in the microchip information, and it was a previous owner, not the current owner, or we can't find them, the number's disconnected. So it's really important to really keep that information up to date.
Yeah, and I think, too, I so many people who have even an indoor cat or something, they are not thinking about, sometimes they figure, well, Fluffy never goes outside, so Fluffy doesn't need to wear a collar and a tag or that kind of thing. But Fluffy might dart out when she hears fireworks.
Absolutely. As careful as we are and as much as we might try to plan for success, accidents happen. So you need to be prepared for that and make sure your pet has proper identification.
And I guess for everybody listening, my dogs are the best at fooling people into giving them a snack. Like, we haven't eaten in days, we're emaciated, even though probably they're all chubby. And, I mean, they just give this look with, and they're sitting at the table and they'll put a paw on somebody's leg, get them to get cheese or salami or something like that. What are the things that people should, under no circumstance, no matter how cute that dog is, feed them?
Oh my gosh, well, chocolate, is a big one. Grapes are not good for pets.
Yeah.
That you can find a whole list online of things that are not good for pets. Onions might be one that would be out for your hot dogs or hamburgers on 4th of July. Those are a no-no for pets. So, you got to be careful about that. And also, one thing to think about, too, is if your pet is one of those that gets really frightened by fireworks, you need to stay calm. There's an urge for us to want to over-comfort our pets and, really coddle them. But actually, if you are too get all wrapped up into that with your pet, it can validate their fears. They can think, oh my gosh, something really is terrible here, right?
Sure.
So you need to just stay calm, maybe give a few comforting pats, but don't want to reinforce the behavior.
Exactly. Okay. So then the thunder shirt. I know that my Scarlet, man, she used to freak out during the fireworks. I got her one of the thunder shirts, and I think it helped. The thunder shirt is just kind of would you say it's kind of a swaddling, I guess, for the dog?
Yeah, I guess that's a really similar concept as swaddling a baby, just having a little compression to help keep them calm. There are other over-the-counter calming things that you can try, like treats, and there's calming collars, diffusers, pet-friendly essential oils. We have all of those items available for sale at our shelter shop, but you can get them at other pet supply stores as well.
I love your shelter shop. It is, oh my gosh, I'll go in there for one thing. One thing is all I need. And somehow I walk out with a bag. And I'm like, how did this happen? But you guys have so much good stuff.
Yeah, I love it when people walk out with a big bag, and it's dangerous working there too. You walk in and all of a sudden you see something you haven't seen before, and you just have to have it.
Exactly.
It's a great resource.
For anybody listening too, the shelter shop does support Pasadena Humane, but you can get the food there, you can get, collars, treats, everything Dia was saying, but then there's also cute little gifty stuff. I've actually gone in there and purchased things for birthday presents for people here at KFI that I know love or that I know got an animal from Pasadena Humane. So it's become sort of a gift, a boutique in a way, I guess you could say, for me, for, gifts for people.
Oh, it's a beautiful boutique type store. Fun to shop. We've got great customer service folks in there who help you find the right things. And it's just fun for me, too, pretty much every day, unfortunately.
Unfortunately for your wallet, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about now what broke my heart one year is I came to the shelter on July 5th, and this was a couple of years ago, and it made me so sad to see the number of animals that had been brought, actually, no, it must have been like the 6th or 7th, but animals that had come in that were strays, that had run off because of the fireworks, that shelter was full.
Yes, it is typically the busiest day of the year for shelters around the country, 4th of July. Lots of pets who are afraid of fireworks will bolt. You know, they will run away. And so we really encourage people, and I think it's gotten a little bit better now that there's so much social media available. Also, we have equipped all of our animal control officers with radios, telephones, microchip scanners, computers, so that they can really try to research, and if they go out to find a lost